My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Nunas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And today, it's finally happening. The long-awaited return of the genre jar.
We did
genre jar, for anyone who's unfamiliar, is a jar which contains genres. And Sky pulls out a genre, and then we each have to pick a drama that goes with that genre and tell people what it is about that drama we like. Now, Sky, what is this week's genre? What is this genre this time? What has it given us?
Objectively not good, but I love it anyway, / guilty pleasures.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
a good one.
I feel like we need to probably mention that objectively not good is kind of a weird thing to say, because what some people might find good, other people don't, and vice versa. Yeah. So these are ones that we don't think are the best dramas, but we love them.
Mm-hmm. They hold a special place in our heart.
They do something to us. They might be low budget. They might be poorly acted. They might be questionable in plot, writing, or
They might be all of those things combined.
It might be all of them. But there's something that just hits a little different for us, you know.
You watched it at that right time in your life, so it sits well with you, even though when you go back, you're like, ooh, okay then. But sure. It's
like it's a TikTok trend that's going around. It's like nothing compares to 13-year-old used book like that you fell in love with. Yes. And it shows the questionable that you fell in love with at 13. You're like, oh, yeah, you still have.
I think for a lot of people, for dramas, this could be something that you watched earlier in your drama watching journey. It could be. It does not have to be, but quite often it could kind of be during that.
And it's just, even if it's, you know, it's the sort of thing, it's like, even if no one else likes it, it's still your special drama, and that's okay. Because we respect that. We respect that here, that sometimes people like things that are, you know. But there's just something about them. There's just something about them that, like, you're just like, you know what?
I do think there are other dramas, and does not fit into this category, that a lot of people don't like, but you do, but you have, like, you think it does what it, like, said it was going to do. Like, you think it still did, like, decently as a drama. Like, it still kind of was more cohesive than maybe people say it. You know, like, maybe everyone else hated it but you still think it was a pretty good drama. Like, it was still pretty good.
It's a drama that still succeeded at its aims that it was going for.
Right.
Or that it had big aims and it maybe fell short, but, like, you see what they were trying to do, and they had the budget for it. They had the, you know, they just...
You respect the hustle of the drama.
Maybe just, like, the aims were just, like, everybody had their popular, what they wanted to happen, and then when that didn't happen, even though it didn't promise that to happen... Like, the majority of people are like, oh, okay, this was bad. And it was really that, like, it wasn't written to this, like, what you wanted specifically.
Right.
So, like, that's a different bundle of dramas, in my opinion. Exactly. Because there's a lot of dramas that I would go to bat for that would be like, not only do I enjoy this drama and blah, 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 I still think it did pretty much what it should have done. Not what I want it to do, but, like... It executed it pretty decently.
I was trying to think of the title of this one drama a K-drama that, like that, I feel like most people didn't watch all the way through because most of the people who started it were, and I can't remember what it's called now, but it was one like that, like where it started and people were like, oh, this is going to be interesting, and then people didn't like what it was doing, so they dropped it, and I was like, I watched it all the way through, and I was like, no, I really like what they were trying to do here. Did they do perfectly? No, but they really tried. And I think just when it's not what you're expecting. And that's totally okay too. It's okay to drop a drama because it's not what you were expecting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But then that's different from saying it's bad, right? It's not bad. It's just not what you wanted.
These dramas that we're going to talk about are not that.
No.
There are, and like we said, we already listed earlier, but they are things that if we were to ever recommend it to somebody, it's probably with some version of a disclaimer.
Yeah.
That I was there for the vibes or something like that.
There's just, listen, sometimes dramas, you can acknowledge the problems with them while still being like, but I liked it anyway. And that's totally fine, because guess what? You liking a drama doesn't say anything about your own personal morality towards real people in the world. It doesn't say anything about your artistic anything. Like, it just says something about that drama was like, yeah, your brain getting little dopamine hits when you watched it, and that's fine. It's fine.
And it's not allowed to be the same
things
for everything, you know. So like, some of the stuff I'm gonna mention today is like questionable, and like behavior wise, and in another drama I might see this same behavior and be like, that's it, I'm out. But for some reason in this drama I was okay with it. It didn't piss me off the way it might in another drama. So like,
mine falls into that category.
Mine's got a big old like, usually when something, I put it on my guilty pleasure, something I really enjoyed, but there's something really like cringeworthy about it. But I'm just like, it's fine. I'm cringing. I'm free. You know?
And quite often it's, you gotta turn your brain off.
Like, listen,
just totally off.
Don't think about it too hard. You know, like, just it's fine.
It's there. That's it.
So with all of that, you know, that's what we're gonna talk about. And thank you for tuning and listening. Or if you want to see us, we're now in video. You can watch us on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, hi. This is what we look like. So anyway, we're gonna get into it. Who would like to be the first victim to bare their inner souls?
That makes it awful scary.
Well, it's just funny because, by the way, we've been at this 5 years, so like, we've probably mentioned.
So.
We haven't had to, but like, the odds of us having mentioned these dramas before are high.
It's not zero, you know.
If you are a long-time listener, you're probably thinking, I know what Amanda's gonna pick. She's gonna pick Two Moons. But no, I'm not, because I talk about it too much. So
and you might be thinking, Natalia is gonna talk about Cutie Pie or Tharntype, but you're wrong, friends. I'm not. I'm not. We're mixing it up. We're taking you on a new journey. We're bringing you somewhere you didn't expect today.
So it was tough. Like, I have pretty much a tie, so I'm only going to do one for you. Let's just go with Secret Garden, which I have mentioned before. This is not a shocker by any means. So, Secret Garden. There probably are a handful of people that have not watched this show. So, it came out in 2010. That's probably why you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it. Because if you are newer to the drama world, you maybe haven't even ran across that much about it. It was very, very, very popular when it came out. I did not watch it when I was not into dramas yet. I came in 2018, so like, way after. But Secret Garden was among the first handful of dramas I watched. It probably was 4th or 5th down the list eventually. But it just scratches the little fun part in my brain is why Secret Garden is fun to me. But my big disclaimer with Secret Garden, well, I have probably a lot of disclaimers, but the main one, I would probably not abide a male lead character doing a lot of the things that male lead character does in pretty much any other drama. He is trash. Like
so trash.
But the funny part about it is everybody sees he's trash, so that kind of helps along a little bit. But there is usually, I mean, early on, there's a little bit too much humiliation of the female lead character. Like, there are things that I would easily drop new dramas for a lot of this behavior. But things that, like, really save it for me or sell it for me, that's what I'm going to focus on. So, like, the female lead character is a stunt woman. And they show her doing stunts, and it is fun. And she has a little, like, family of the stunt guys that she works with.
I love the found family stunt crew.
Yeah. Yes.
And so, like, you'll see her dressing up to do, like, the body doubles for all these things. And she does huge stunts. Like, it's really, really cool. So, love that. But that is not enough to sell me on this show, for sure. It's the comedy. Like, it is the... So, spoiler, not really spoiler, it happens, like, in the first or second episode. There's soul body switching situation. That's the whole crux of this show. And the comedy of them acting like each other, and they do it very well, is very, very funny to me. Like, that just sends me the entire time. And so that's why I have such a good time with it, despite the fact that, like, the romance is very douchey rich guy, like, holding his wealth over a girl's head.
He's such a piece of shit.
Very, you do not even deserve to lick my boots type. I mean, it's bad, guys. That's why, like, I would never recommend Secret Garden to someone definitely new to dramas. No, I would not dream of bringing it up to someone in that respect. If they were wanting, hey, I want a really ridiculously kind of awful drama. Almost camp, it's not quite camp. But, like, it almost gets there. As far as classic drama, like, you want douchey classic drama guy? This is the drama for you. Like,
yeah, I would say that it's also the drama that, like, if you're gonna find people quoting, it's going to be from this, or like showing a scene from. If you're
a K-pop person and you're sitting there going, "What is this spoof that I keep seeing when I look at these older?" This is the one.
It's definitely referenced a lot.
Is there a sparkly tracksuit? It's this.
It's like, so the sparkly tracksuit is another cell. Like, that's funny. And by the way, that's not just like a one scene thing. That is multiple episodes. Constant. They get matching ones later on. It's a thing.
And, like, they reference that tracksuit in so many other dramas. Like, even if it's not a sparkly one, like the tracksuit thing. Like, I'm just thinking of, like, Shopping King Louie starts with a limited edition tracksuit being, like, the crux of a plot point. Like, it's iconic, you know? Like, it's
there's lots of aspects. So, like, there's even kind of, like, magic, of course, because there's body switching. But, like, as far as how that occurs and stuff, it has made me cry. It does have, like, tender moments and stuff. Does the male lead get a decent redemptive arc? Sure, if you close your eyes and just let him, I guess.
If you believe in yourself, you know, like...
You keep thinking 2010, like, 2010, 2010.
You really... Different time.
He gets to the point where it's convincing that maybe he wouldn't be horrific eventually. But, like, time passed, and that's another thing. Like, there's near-death experiences, there's a lot of... There's enough things that occur that are, like, that would actually change a person, so I might give that. Maybe. Like, there was stuff to happen. So, but really, there's fun music. I've always really enjoyed the music. So, and as far as, like, who's in it, you should know, but Hyunbin, Ha Ji-won. Then you have Yoon Sang-hyun, which he is a joy as Asuka.
He's the best part of the show.
So good.
And then you have Kim Sa-rong, and then you have Lee Phillip, which it makes you want Lee Phillip to, like, still be doing stuff because he is amazing.
Yeah. You'll Google him after, and you'll be like, no.
Yeah.
And then, like, people don't think about it all that often, but you do have Yoo In Ah in it. And the fact that time having to scroll down this far to see Lee Jong Suk in it.
Right.
Yeah.
He definitely has a fair bit of screen time. You kind of have even some little queer representation with that, just little tidbit right there.
Listen, it has a smidge, a little sprinkle, just to be like, listen, this is all we could get away with at the time. You know, like, you know.
Well, and that's kind of the whole thing about once you do like body switching things and just all that's like, it's kind of that, and when you get into the cross-dressing dramas too, it's like there's something to be said for like queer representation within that type of vague context, essentially. Like, oh, you were attracted to a dude, or oh, like, does body really have much to do with the person? And, you know, like, there's a lot to be said for that. So, I am not trying to make Secret Garden seem like a super deep show. It's not. But I rewatched it. There are objectionable points still, but I mean, it really is fun for me. I do think that there would be lots of people that, rightfully so, put it down and do not ever pick it up again. I will not argue against that, but I recommend it if you want something bad and classic.
Yeah.
And mostly funny. Please do not come at me for the episode. There are episodes that probably don't have that much humor in them, but as far as you just kind of have to push. Oh, and the mother-in-law character is a thing.
She is.
Oh, she's the mother-in-law.
She's
the
classic mother-in-law.
I will say, I have seen equally bad mother-in-law characters, maybe not so over the top at it, but hitting the very classical, here's money, you know, like the whole 9 yards of that. And so
hitting all the
I feel like it very sets up all the typical things. And so you do get a lot of tropes, you know, you're hitting on a lot of tropes with this drama, but I get a really big kick out of actually hating the male lead character a lot, I think, just because he is trash. And so, like, just watching him be horrific, and the whole time the female lead character pretty much hating his guts for a very, very long time before she's... Doesn't matter that he's wealthy, she doesn't care. You're awful. Which I respect that.
I respect the hustle there, you know?
And like, the fact that she is a fangirl for the Asuka character, just like, that's just so fun to me. Like, their whole relationship is so funny. But yeah, she's a cute character. Like, it's just really fun. And so then when they're doing the body switching, and so you know these people are acting like each other, that's why it's so funny when you see, like, Hyunbin acting like a fangirl about something. Pretty good. So that was my pick. Who's next?
Good pick. Good pick.
Good pick. Good pick.
Who's next on the chopping block?
I can go if we want.
All right.
You don't want to go in order.
Oh, and Secret Garden is like everywhere. Just so you will find it. It's around everywhere.
I am going to follow up with a drama that is not found everywhere. So sorry if this entices you to watch this drama. My bad.
Good luck.
I guess it sold it well. Like, I don't know. So I'm going to talk about a J-drama from 2010 that I just watched last year.
Same year.
Yeah. We're in the same year. Drastically different. I don't know. Well, I guess a lot of people do kind of consider this like not a classic, but like a lot of people who are into J-dramas really like this show. It's based off of a manga. I'm pretty sure there's an anime, and it's called The Wallflower. It's not to be confused with The Wallflower that came out like within like a year of this. That's like a melodrama, like completely different like drama whatsoever. It's also called Perfect Girl Evolution some places, but for the most part it's The Wallflower. So I want to tell you the premise of this show so you know how wacky we're getting with this. Okay, so there's this guy, his name is Kyohei. He's a very, 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 very good looking guy, to the point where everybody in town loves him. They think he's God. He's just so pretty. Everybody is always trying to get with him. Like, he's an idol, essentially, in this town. And he works at, like, a cafe or a coffee shop or whatever. And he's constantly hounded by girls every single day that, like, are trying to get his number, trying to get them to date, just, like, only there to, like, basically look at his face. And he kind of, like, snaps one day and has enough of, like, this, because it, like, literally it's to the point where he can't even, like, walk down the street without getting, like, kind of, like, swarmed by people. So it's, like, you know, that level of, like, think idols in airport type situation. So he kind of, like, gets fed up with this, and then he loses his job, and he's like, oh crap, I kind of needed that job for money. And so by things that happen, he is approached by this woman who is like, hey, I have this really, really big house, and I will, like, allow you to live in this house rent free. I'll also, like, pay for, like, everything else, so you can get, like, boarding and, like, food and stuff is all included. The only catch is that you are going to try to make my niece into a woman. Like, you are going to take her out of her shell. You're going to make her seem popular. You're going to do all this stuff. And you have to do this within a certain time. And because he really has no other option, he's like, yeah, sure, I'm going to go to this mansion. Just because, I mean, like, nobody really questions things in this drama, so, like, here we are.
They really don't. Yeah.
They really don't. And so he ends up at this, like, mansion, and he ends up with, like, 3 other guys who are also kind of in the same boat as him, where they're very pretty, very good looking, and they're all kind of, like, constantly being, like, attacked or, like inconvenienced because of the way that they look. And also at the mansion, you have the niece, who's roughly around the same age, and the owner of the house's son. And so the owner of the house is, like, on her private jet, like, going to places and stuff. So that's why she's not there. So the whole show is about these guys, including the son, who the son is, like, maybe 10 years old. He's, like, a kid. They are trying to fulfill the, like, requirements of, like, living there rent free, right? And the thing is, the girl, you find out, is agoraphobic. She doesn't, like, get out of the house, but she's also a very much a spooky emo girl. And she is a goth girl. She wears, like, you know, all black. She always has her hood up. She sleeps in a coffin. She loves vampires. She loves horror movies. Like, it's, like, that's her thing. It's, like, and she's, like, a nerd about it. Like, she's obsessed with it, right? And so the whole premise of the show is them trying to make her into, like, you know, a pretty girl. It is what, like, makes this, like, a contender on this list is that it is wacky and crazy. It's, like, campy, but also a lot of times it's not campy, but it is campy because they're just not good at the, like, acting. The lines can be terrible. Like, it's like every time you're watching something, it's either half the time it's just, like, bad deliveries or bad whatever, but also, like, half the time it's, like, intentional direction of things. It's crazy, like, weirdest lines, weirdest plots. Like, there's, like, one point where this, like, one person is, like, absolutely stalking the, like, male lead, and, like, gets to a point where she's, like, basically wanting to kill off everyone, and you're like, what is going on? It also lives in this world where it acknowledges that, like, the supernatural actually happens, but kinda doesn't. Like, so it goes from, like, her just liking all this stuff to, like, maybe a ghost is, like, haunting their place and they have to, like, do all this stuff, like, go around the house and, like, try to figure out, like, why this ghost is, like, making their lives, like, hard.
I love it when a show does the supernatural, but it doesn't. Like, it happens.
It's like, you're like, oh, okay. And she's, like, crazy, but, like, on the flip side of this, the show has got this really great endearing quality to it, because the like main message of the show is actually just like finding your true self and being okay with your true self, and also not perceiving people just because of the way that they look. And they use both extremes. So the girl with her like being super weird and quiet and, you know, like into a like a culture like that's like not the norm, to like the extremely pretty guys who are actually like really kind and nice and caring and helping her, and like they want to be around and they want to be just like acting like a normal human being around like another human being, and not just like constantly being like praised for their good looks and stuff. So they do that really well. And that's what like made the show really endearing. The two that like play the leads are also like really great together, and they have a you know, it's like an obvious like there's gonna be a romance happening to it, but it's, you know, also like 14, so you know, it's slow and nothing really happens. You're not, don't have to worry about like watching this one with your kids. But it's so wacky and so bad a lot of the times, but you kind of like press it like on, because it's got this like little thing you're like, that's kind of cute. And that's a little cute thing that they ended off with, like her like finally breaking out of her shell and coming to like hang out with them. And like there's a lot of like really sweet moments with her and the cousin. Like they're very cute together. And then like you also see some like random stuff with like the other guys and like some of the people who work in the Lake Mansion, like kind of like the help, or like people who work with the aunt and stuff. It is very much terrible in terms of like consistency, and like every episode you're like,
I love it.
What are we doing here? But then like you get back on track, and then like, we gotta make this girl like wear pretty pink and makeup, and you know, you're like, I don't know about this girl. I don't think we should change her. The lead is Kamanashi Kazuya, who, like, I think if you watch a lot of J-dramas, you probably know who he is, because he's like kind of really big in the industry. If you know the group KAT-TUN, he's part of that, and he started like from the very beginning on that one. But the girl is played by Omasa Aya, who we personally know because she was in another drama that we watched together and talked about, which was one of our like first episodes on this podcast. It was the vampire show, Vampire Heaven.
Yeah,
Vampire Heaven.
Oh, Vampire Heaven.
Which is also
speaking of objectively bad.
Very
objectively bad fun shows.
Yes,
yeah.
They very much live in the same world. She was one of the vampires in that, which I guess she has a type of like show she really likes to do.
Gets all these like emo girl off.
Yeah, and she's like, okay, that's fine. If you don't know her from acting, you might know her because she's married to the guitarist in One OK Rock. So if like you're into that group, that's what it is. But I'm telling you, it's a bad show all around, but it's just so good watching it because it's
sometimes
so terrible.
The bad is what makes it good. You know what I mean? Like, and like sometimes it's just
part of it is because it's like, you know, not for like adults, but also part of it is just like, no, this is terrible, and we're just like randomly throwing this like literally someone in the writing room was like, here's the thing, make it happen, and they're like, oh, okay, so we're gonna do all these wacky hijinks to like,
why not
make this happen? Okay. But they do have like a very strong little like found family within, and she like helps them. She's a really good cook, so she likes to like make stuff for them, and it's not like she does it like out of like because she's the girl in the house. She just like really likes it, and it's one of the things that she can like comfortably show for them without having to like really engage with them. So it's like very essential in like the beginning episodes. So she does a lot of that, and like there's very sweet moments with the other guys and the little kid too, because the little kid's very cute too. And then like the last episodes get a little crazy, a little wacky, and things happen and it doesn't make any sense to the plot whatsoever, but here we are. But yeah, that's The Wallflower. It's a really great show. You should all watch it.
Go find
and
it
it's
somewhere.
Clearly a Jessie show, for sure.
You know what we should do? We need to start a writing campaign to Vicky to go pick up the rights to it so that everyone can enjoy it.
We got it like as a suggestion in was it in our J-drama stream? So we did a stream of like, we have the stream over on YouTube where we plotted out J-dramas that were like really terrible so that could work for this episode, but like some of them are like really bad, like really iffy things happening with the couple.
But that's,
you know,
It
whatever.
was part of a live stream about J-dramas, like J-drama starter pack is the name of the live stream, I think. But then the second half of the live stream, we were plotting on an XY axis. Where different couples end up, like with like one of the people being serial killer to green flag, and the other one being intelligent to the stupidest person you've ever met. Yeah, and so like where they fit on that.
Let's just say there was a lot of dumb, dangerous combinations.
Dumb danger was.
But I can't remember who suggested it. Maybe it was like Lucy.
I think it was Lucy. I feel like it was Lucy.
But I feel like maybe it was Lucy and someone else was like, oh yeah. So then I was like, okay, you don't have to tell me twice, because this is squarely in the comedy that I don't like, but like if you put like in a J-drama and it like very intentionally like is matching what an anime has, there's just something different about that for me, and I like eat it up. I'm like, that's fine with it. But also like, she's so cute and she's like such a like an emo girl, and I was like, okay, I mean like I'm digging this, and I had no clue about it whatsoever. So it is kind of like, I feel like it is known if you like are into J-dramas and like watch a little bit more than like what is recent, which is not like me very much changing that. But I was like pleasantly surprised by it, and I'm glad that I did like pick it up and watch it. But just know that like I think most people like watch the first episode and they're like, peace out, I'm done.
But if you stick with it, you're really getting some vibes, you know?
To stick with it.
Vibes.
Like the vibes.
Like you have to get past all the pretty boys and see how true they are and how sweet they are and kind they are, and not just pretty faces. And she's not just an emo girl who like doesn't talk and is weird and like runs off when like someone even looks at her. So go watch it. It's fun.
Love it.
Well, I dug deep, went back into some of my early watches. Although I feel like I might have watched it shortly after it aired. But this is a 2017 Taiwanese drama. It is the first season of the franchise History. History season 1 is not the high quality endeavor that you have come to expect by season 3. It has essentially on Viki, it is on Viki right now. It's just listed as like History 1 and 3 episodes. I think when I watched it, it wasn't as 3 episodes. It was like 3-4 episode series, but like the 4 episodes were 15 minutes long or something. Like they're short. They're short. I would love to see these stories get a fuller script. So the first one, there's 3 stories in it. Stay Away From Me is probably my least favorite, but it's also probably the least problematic of them.
Okay.
So there you go.
Even though the name doesn't sound...
It's sort of like a faux cest kind of thing with like stepbrothers. So it's sort of like, and it's fine, but it didn't. The other 2 both have sort of like magical, mystical type things to them. So one of them is called My Hero, and it is about a girl who dies, but she wasn't meant to die. The like Grim Reaper jumped the gun, took her, and there's no body to put her back into. And they're like, geez, we are so sorry. And she's like, no. I don't accept this. I was still supposed to have another 60 years. I want my 60 years. Find me a body, basically. And there is a boy from her class who has just hit his head and probably dying, but you know what? You could hop into his body. And she's like, I'll take it. And if you can, if she can convince her boyfriend from her previous boyfriend to kiss her within 3 days or something, then she can stay in this body and she can, have it, whatever. And so it is this story of this girl using all these things that she thinks she knows about her boyfriend and about their relationship to try and get him to fall in love with her in this boy's body. But there's like a huge twist to it all, and you see through her eyes, through her going through this, that she's suddenly realizing that maybe their relationship was never what she thought it was, and that it's very good. It's very well done. Like it feels like it's missing some things, and it probably would have benefited from a little bit of a longer story, a little more time to flesh some things out. At one point, there's a few points where you sort of like, where did we go? How are we here now? But the story is good. If you are a fan of like, Oh My Ghost, but the big struggle a lot of people have with Oh My Ghost is that the end doesn't quite hit. It just, you're like, he spends all of his time with the ghost girl. Like, this one has a way more satisfying ending to that story or that genre. Like, to me, it's a really satisfying ending, and the way the story unfolds and the twist to it unfolds is really well done, I think. But the production quality is terrible.
In the ground.
Bad. And I mean, the acting is what it is. There's like an angel in it, which is like, high school production dude with wings on his back type. We're talking, paper mache type story. Like, it's not great.
Listen, they had $1 and a dream. Okay?
Exactly.
They were doing their best. They were.
I mean, from this season, obviously people liked it well enough that it spawned a whole franchise of much better quality, higher investment shows. So the third one that is my favorite, probably, and is the absolute most questionable of the three,
of course,
is called Obsession. And it's okay. The one male lead in this is absolutely bonkers. Like, he is obsessed, and not in a good way. Does not take no for an answer the way that he should. Like, it's not good. But the basic premise of this story is this couple has been together for like 3 years. One of them is very popular, very rich, very everything. The other one is sort of shy and quiet and nerdy and everything. And he, at the beginning of the show, sees his boyfriend of 3 years proposing to this woman or talking about marriage to this woman. And he is just heartbroken, runs out into traffic and gets hit by a car, dies. Wakes up 3 years previous and says, you know what? I ain't wasting 3 years on that guy. He's a piece of crap. But everything he keeps trying to do to keep not going in that direction spins around, and he keeps winding up in this guy's path over and over. And as mad as he is, he does still love this guy. And so it's just very hard for him to, the other guy is obsessed with him, and he always, this is another one where there's like a twist to the story where, because they're seeing it from a different light, like, he always thought he was the one who loved more in the relationship. He had the crush first, he had everything, And now that he is doing his damnedest to like not go in that direction, now he's seeing that all along this guy pursued him, wanted him, like loved him. And so it's a neat storytelling. Are there questionable aspects? Yes. Does dude not take no for an answer when he should? Yes. But it has a really very cool ending to it. The sort of magical aspect to it is fun. The storytelling is good. Again, if you had a little bit more time to flesh out some of it, it either could have been used to be even more questionable, or maybe they could have made some things seem a little less, yikes. But yeah, I love this story. I would love to see this season get more. And if you are unfamiliar, if you're familiar with Boy Love, but you're unfamiliar with the History series, up until a certain point, like, this is what it was known for, was being a series that just gave you happy endings. Like, these are romances. You're going to get a happy ending. That is what you knew you were going to get. And then
let's not talk about History 3. I don't have it in me right now.
Don't re-traumatize people.
I don't have it in me to talk about Make Our Days Count.
Yeah. But this first season, I can tell you that everything is a happy ending. Sometimes, I mean, I think with Obsession, it's like, here's your happy ending and we're done. And you're like, whoa, what? Like, was there a little bit more coming after that? Because it kind of, like, we ran out of film and so we stopped. And you're like, all right, I guess so. But, like,
that's sure. Like exactly what it is. We ran out of film.
Right. We were filming Old School and we ran out. Guess we're done. Like, before it cuts off, you're like, this is a good ending. This is a happy ending. It just needed another 10 feet of reel, So, but yeah, so History, it's on Viki. You can go check it out. And like I said, 3 short episodes. You can go have fun with it. And don't come yelling at me about the terrible production values and the questionable content. Because
I think this History series is one of those things that maybe not like Secret Garden where it's like in pop culture, but like if you're talking to people about BLs, it's very much like talked about. So you'll hear it all the time. So it's definitely like one to familiarize yourself if you're like starting to get into BLs, I think.
And I mean,
like
season 2
bring it up all the time.
Perfect. Like,
shut up. Don't talk about season 2 right now.
Okay, we won't.
Okay, no. Please stop.
Natalia, do you have something to talk about?
Okay, this is gonna seem like it was planned. But I want you to know that this very much was not planned.
None of us knew.
None of us know what we're picking before the other one. Now, I want to take you to Taiwan in 2018. And a little duology show came out that was a sequel to another show.
Can you say that again? There was
a little duology that came out in 2018 in Taiwan that happened to be a sequel to a previous show that had become very popular, and so money was put into it. Not a lot of money, but a little more money. And it was called History 2.
Really? What?
Now, okay, before I get into this, so History 2, instead of being 3 shows, it was a longer show, but it was only 2 shows. the first half was called Right or Wrong, and the second half was called Crossing the Line. Now, everyone fucking loved Crossing the Line, okay? There was like, it's fun. Yeah. Like, people still talk about it. It's sports. It was, volleyball, like, rough around the edges. Guy joins the volleyball team to pursue the, upstanding manager. Had a cute kiss through the net. They smooched through the net. It was all, it was like, everyone was like, ooh, I love this. It's fine, okay? But I want to talk about the one that came before that no one really remembers or talks about or cares about because it didn't have a bunch of cute boys in it. Now, before I talk about History 2, Right or Wrong, I know that on this podcast, we mention a lot how we don't really love, like, big power imbalances in relationships and vaguely inappropriate, age gaps or, like teacher-student things. I need to say that I recognize all of that, okay? Despite all of that, History 2, Right or Wrong, hits different, and I can't explain why until you watch it, but I'll tell you what the show's about. It is college, so everyone calm down. It's not that bad. Okay? It's not that bad. So the scene opens with this movie being, essentially the two people are having a very dramatic breakup. And then this little girl comes up and starts going, Mommy, I need some help. And then the guy's like, you had a kid this whole time. Then you find out that this is a movie that they're filming, like a student film being made. And these two are just friends. And the female actress is like, I've never seen this child before in my life. Like, who are you, child? Who are you? And so this like, I'd say she's probably about 7 or 8-year-old child, brings these two actors, college student actors, to her house, which is a pigsty. It's disgusting. This place is covered in trash. And she's like, yeah, I live alone with my daddy. Like, and da-da-da-da-da. And so they find him, like, passed out on the floor and are like, dear God, they think he's dead. And then they're like poking him, like, are you awake? And he wakes up and he's just like a gross slob, okay? And then you very quickly find out that he's not actually just an unemployed gross bum, which is what he looks like. He's actually, like, the head of the anthropology department at the university that they attend. And he's a single dad and hires this guy, he's 19, this 19-year-old college student, to be his new manny, okay? So we've got some real, and at the same time also takes over the class that this college student is taking because the professor goes on maternity leave. You see where, yes. So
there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. And then you very quickly find out that they have a little bit of a past that the college professor doesn't really remember. Because the teenager, he's a college student, he's 19, was bullied for being gay in high school and, like, went out basically to, like, sell himself. And the professor, like, stopped him and was like, slapped him and was like, get it together. Get it together, kid. So what if someone called you gay and made fun of you at school? Fuck them. And so, so while being the manny, and he, like, starts to reform this guy into a better dad. And then the guy's like, do I like men this whole time? And anyway, this show of questionable relationship dynamics, okay? Like, and it has a lot in it that you're just like, yikes. Like, at one point, he, like, this professor, like, goes to, like, state his intentions to the kid's mom, who, like, is a nurse that he knew when he was a kid. And the mom, instead of being like, why is this 32-year-old man wanting to date my 19-year-old, is like, yeah, you can date, but you're not allowed doing anything until he's 20, which is, like, what an arbitrary, like,
I mean, I always thought, at least if she had said, nothing until you're you're not his teacher anymore, right? Like once the semester ends, then have at her. But like right now,
it's inappropriate,
teacher, right? But no, it's the arbitrary age difference.
Yeah, it's
okay.
It's like suddenly when he turns 20, like he's good to go apparently. But like, so apparently the mom seemed to have no issues with it. I will say the little kid in it, cute as hell. And there is like a really funny scene where she's like, I'm gonna grow up and marry him. And then like she's eating with the dad. And the dad's like, well, I'm gonna marry him. So you're gonna have to find your own husband. And she's like, well, this is bullshit. Men can't marry men. He's like, yeah, they can. We live in Taiwan. Okay. And she's like, oh, okay. And it's like, you know, cute. But there's like this one scene, and it's the one scene that like sold me on this show. And it happens in episode 2. There's like 4 episodes. It's on Viki. And it has the most ridiculous line I've ever heard. They're like the 2 guys and the kid are eating lunch in this cafe, and like the professor like leans forward to like wipe some like food off of the guy's face, and there's these two like women sitting at a table who are like, woo, like, oh my god, like gay people exist, and then are like taking their photo for some fucking reason because that's bizarre, okay, and then they like turn to them and are like, what are you doing? And they're like, gender doesn't matter. We support you. And the professor's like, okay. And then one of the girls says, we support multivariable family structures. Which is such a wild line. And I was sitting here like, this show is incredible. Like, it's incredible in a way where you're watching it and you're like, this is not great. But I'm really into it anyway. And it's like, no matter how questionable things get, you're still like, okay. Like, it's got everything. Like, it's got people not realizing bisexual men exist. Incredible. It's got like another professor who's like, yeah, you can just leave your 7-year-old kid with a random person for 2 years to go on like an archaeology dig site as though that's a normal fucking thing to suggest to someone. Incredible. Like, it's so not good, but it's so good at the same time. And I have no way, like, I can't explain to you why it's good until you witness it yourself, because everything about it is bad. Like, no, this 32-year-old professor should not be dating a 19-year-old student who's also his nanny. Absolutely not. Like, no. You shouldn't tell your boyfriend's mom that and let her decide when you guys can get... That's weird, okay? Everything about it is weird. I can't tell you how many times I've watched it. I love it so much. And also, this is a small thing, but I just think it's really funny. The character of the professor constantly wears shirts that have little patterns of Mickey Mouse heads on them. No idea why. Just having that Mickey Mouse vibe. And it's incredible. The show is... The acting is actually pretty good. Like, yes. Like the...
I think that's one of the things that makes it more watchable, because the younger actor is doing a good job with it. It doesn't have that added like awkwardness or uncomfortable.
Yeah, it doesn't have the energy of I've never been in front of a camera before that like some real low budget shows have. Like, these actors seem like they have acted before, you know, that they are playing their roles correctly. And it's like, it's cute, okay? Despite it being the most, like, power imbalance thing you've ever seen, it's actually very cute. That's right, Fluffernutter. It's actually very cute. And it's, you know, it's kind of a nice show, despite it. Glaring problems that it has.
I just think it's so. I think it's so funny, like, the things that we picked and, like, how it reflects, like, what it says about us, our picks. Like, I just really enjoyed that.
The justification was being like, I know. Okay, like, I know. But, like, just trust me.
I also like that Amanda and Natalia didn't plan that, and it worked out so perfectly that Amanda went first in that as well.
I know, right?
Yeah, that was really great.
Yes, just when she started talking, I was like, oh.
Well,
I like to make these little surprises for, you know, each other, not just y'all listening. But yeah, that's history, and also like crossing the line is fine. Right or wrong, though? And the reason it's called right or wrong, you would think, is because, like, because the relationship... No, it's a pun. It's a name pun. Because that's what that's what the professor's name means. It's a name pun. The whole thing is a name pun.
I feel like that happens a lot in dramas, but, like... I'm not saying this drama in particular, because, like, I, of course, don't know, but... I think, like, for instance, Attention Love, which I think was a Taiwanese drama.
Yeah.
Like, at least they explained that, like, it all centered around how their names meant, like, attention and halt or something, like, these military instruction names. So at least they, like, talked about it, but I think there are lots of other dramas that, like, the names mean something, and no one addresses the little subtitlers and translators never let us know.
And
we're always just
almost every character's name means something, and it like either means something specifically because of what's happening, or like what is like essential to their character, or like something. So like an example would be like in The Vision of Escaflowne, the character's name is Hitomi, and she can see the future and she can see things. And Hitomi is I in Japanese. So that's like what it is. But it could also literally be a pun. Like it doesn't actually mean anything. It's just some random stuff that's just like a fun.
That is one of the benefits that I think we've lost from fan subs and stuff, because they used to always, you know, in brackets, they'd have like a paragraph, you had to pause it so you could read everything they were trying to tell you. And sometimes you'll still get that on Viki subs, but like not to the same extent.
Not always.
And not always, but...
and Viki subtitlers should be paid fair wages.
Yeah.
Like,
pay your subbers.
Viki subtitlers should definitely be paid. Pay your subbers. Pay your subbers, Viki. We're looking at you. We love your service, but we know we'd love even more.
Do we have to pay for your service? Yes, we do. Do you have movies that I have to rent and pay? Yes, you do. You can pay your subbers.
Yeah.
Viki,
you're a $1 billion
part of Rakuten of the multi-billion dollar,
multi-billion dollar company. You can pay your subbers.
Pay your subbers.
Pay your subbers.
So anyway, if you really enjoyed this situation that we did today with the Guilty Pleasures, and you're like, I wonder if they have a second pick. Well, for our found family on patreon.com/certifiednunas, we have an extra episode going up this week with our second questionable picks. So if you are part of the found family, you can find out what that is, and if you want to support us, you can support us through Patreon at patreon.com/certifiednunas. And join the fan family, where you get extra episodes like that, little mini-sodes, and also movie nights and other little things over, because, we know how people watching YouTube and listening to podcasts know how Patreon works at this point, I think, perhaps. Anyway, and if you want to listen to us and listen to more episodes, if you just found this episode randomly, wherever podcasts can be found, so, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, that sort of thing, all of our episodes are on our website, certifiednunas.com, with all of our episodes. It also have links and time codes, everything we talk about, and all of our episodes are also on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can just click our little icon there and go to our page and find literally every episode we've ever done. And if you are on YouTube, if you want to like and subscribe and leave a comment what your guilty pleasure is,
please.
We would love to hear it. Anyway, thank you for listening to us. We'll see you next week with a fresh hot episode, hot off the presses, coming next Monday. And as always, wear a mask, wash your hands, and keep enjoying Asian entertainment. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.